passed upon the stair. We spoke of wars and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend. Here's a fabulous song from Bowie from the early 70s. Not a very difficult song either. The chord shapes themselves are quite straightforward. We might look at some bar chord alternatives, but there's maybe 5 or 6 different shapes in the entire song. The Nirvana version, the MTV Unplugged thing, is pretty much identical to the Bowie version, except it's a semitone lower. There isn't an easier fix for that than to tune your guitar down a semitone if you want to do that, but you could just as well play it in the Bowie key, and then pretty much you'd be playing the Bowie version. In fact, we're not going to end up playing what Bowie plays on the original, because he strummed a 12-string guitar with a very light pick, and Tony Visconti put it right at the back of the mix to give it that shimmering effect he was fond of. Perhaps when we look at the strumming, it'll owe a little bit more to the Nirvana version. So let's do that straight away. And we kick off with a bar of A, 2 bars of A in fact, and I'm going to play it like this for now, although of course you could be playing bar chords too. And I'm going to play something a bit like a rumba. I'm going to come down with a light strum and then a stronger strum, which I'm kind of spreading out. My first strum, I'm really just aiming for the 5th string. If I happen to hit the 6th string or the 4th string either side, never mind, but it's really just a bass note. Like that. Boom, bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, bam. And then I'm going to come up with successive up strums. And I'm really only touching the top strings when I come up. The beauty of playing this with bar chords is that you can release the bar when you want to and get a much crisper feel, because that just kills or mutes the notes in between the strum. For now I'll play the open chords here, but actually when we go for a playthrough I'll probably play them as bar chords, because we just get that slightly crisper sound. Anyway, the intro is 2 bars of A, 2 bars of D minor, 2 bars of F, and then we just pause on a D minor before we passed upon the... We'll look at that in a second, but let's just strum through those. Of course, Mick Ronson's is playing through the top of that. We'll look at that too in a moment, but for now, here's the intro, just getting into the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor, F to D minor, we passed upon the, and we're into the verse. That bar there that we have after the first 6 bars with the D minor, we passed upon, the first beat you just strum and then you count. We passed upon the... So in fact it's 6 beats. Think of that however you like, with a simple 4-beat bar and a half bar tacked on the end. Or for me, I'm writing this out as a 6-beat bar. So that's what we've got. We've got D minor, and that lasts for 6 beats altogether before we get into the verse. Perhaps the biggest difference between the Bowie version and the Nirvana version is that on the Nirvana version we get 1, 2, 3, we passed upon the... So we actually get 2 4-beat bars back to back on that D minor. So in fact the whole of the intro is 8 straight 4-beat bars. Anyway, we're going to get into the verse. 2 more bars of A. You might play A7 there. I quite like the A7, but A will also do. And then we get D minor for 2, back to A or A7 for 2, and now it's F for 2. So all of that going from the lead in. We passed upon the stair. We spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as a cert. Now it's C for 2. Praise has spoken to us. Now we get another 6-beat bar. Spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone. And back into our D minor. So again, there's a 6-beat bar there. We finish off this section with D minor for 2 bars, and that's it. Thought you died alone a long, long time. And now we're into what I'm calling the chorus, where we have the boop, 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 all this stuff, which we'll look at in a moment too. So if I can, let's just get the intro and the verse section together, and then we'll get on and look at the chorus. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is me doing Mick Ronson. We passed upon the stair, spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as some surprise. Spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. And we kick off the chorus with a chord of C. So what happens here in the chorus? We get 3 bars of C, 1 bar of F. If I go from the D minor at the end of the verse, long, long time ago. Oh no, not me. And we reach this B flat minor. It's not an easy chord to play actually, it's an A minor barred at the 1st fret. You could try an E minor shaped barred at the 6th fret. That's actually a bit more comfortable for me, I might do that. Get a bar of that, a bar of F, a bar of C, a bar of F. So from the top of the chorus. Oh no, not me, I never lost control. You're face to face with the man who sold us. So we get 1 more B flat minor bar, and we finish off with 2 bars of A. Whoa. Then we just go back into the intro. In fact, those 2 bars of A form the beginning of the intro again to get us into the 2nd verse. So just from the end of that. Your face to face with a man who sold the world. To D minor, to F, D minor. I laughed and shook his hand. In my way, and we're into the 2nd verse, going into the chorus exactly as we did first time. A couple of things to think about here. That A chord, if you were going to play a bar chord, you would perhaps play an E-type bar chord on the 5th fret. Instead of A7 here, maybe A7 like this, and E7 bar chord like that. That's an obvious thing. And again, this D minor. You could play that as an A minor shape, the one we just saw for the B flat minor, but here on the 5th fret. That would be a great way to play that. F, you could play down here. That's already a bar chord, an E-type bar chord on the 1st fret, but you could also do this up on the 8th fret, an A-type bar chord. Either way, if you've got bar chords, as I said before, we can create something. Crisper. Okay, now the Mick Ronson guitar riff that we get, you could play that in a few places. You could play this note here on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, but bending, which you're going to have to do, is going to be easier if you're closer to the middle of the length of string. So I put my 3rd finger here on the 7th fret of the 4th string. My 1st finger's on the 5th fret, so then I'm going to go back up to the 7th fret and I'm going to bend. I'm bending the equivalent of a semitone, a half step, and then back to that 5th fret note. And that just carries on like that. That's that riff. The next thing to look at perhaps is in the chorus where we get this. Oh no, not me, I've never lost control. Both the bass and the electric guitar are doing this. In 8ths, so quavers, we're just playing a straight scale of C, but with a B flat. So if you know your modes, that's a C mixolydian. Oh no, not me. And when we move to the F chord, we're then just playing a straight scale of F major. Okay, so those 4, one time, up to speed. Oh no, not me. And I think I hear this. That's 4th fret. This is on the B flat minor. 4th fret of the 5th string up to the 3rd fret of the 4th string and back again. La-dee-da, on that B flat. La-dee-da. Then we've got F and C and F again. Your face to face with a man who sold the world. Excuse my singing. That's how I reckon that's played. If you wanted to do something a little bit closer to the original, what you might do is palm mute. That is to say, get the heel of the palm on the strings and then strike them with the thumb. That kind of thing. Okay. Now the second verse is exactly the same as the first verse, and the second chorus is likewise identical to the first chorus. At the end of it we get our A for 2 bars, the and as before, D minor for 2, and now F for 2, but whereas at the end of the first chorus we now get into the second verse, I laughed and shook it. So we have that 6-beat bar. We don't have that anymore. We just get 2 straight bars of D minor at the end. Now what happens is this, we get yet another chorus that's slightly different. This chorus, instead of beginning with 3 bars of C as the others do, we get straight into who knows, not me. So it's curtailed. We only get 1 bar of C at the beginning of that. Otherwise it's exactly the same. And again we get into our 8-bar sequence, 2 of A, 2 of D minor, 2 of F and 2 of D minor, and then that just loops another 4 times, so 5 times I think altogether at the end of that third chorus to fade. I mean, it may go on for a little bit longer than that, but maybe what I'll try is singing the whole of the second chorus, playing that little instrumental section of 8 bars into the third shorter chorus, and we'll get into the outro, which is that 8-bar sequence fading. Here we go, 2, 3, 4. Who knows, not me, whenever lost control. Your face to face, where the man who sold the world. 1, 2, 3. Who knows? until we're done, and that really is everything. Okay, so I think perhaps we can have a little playthrough. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully see you on the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Passed upon the stairs, spoke of was and when. Oh no, I wasn't there. Said I was his friend, which came as some surprise. I spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. Oh no, not me, I never lost control. Your face to face with a man who saw the world. I laughed and shook his hand, made my way back home. I searched for form and land, for years and years I roamed. Gazed his stare, and all the millions here we must have died alone a long, long time ago. Who knows, not me, we never lost control. Your face to face with a man who saw the world. And no, not me, we never lost control. Your face to face with a man who saw the world. That's it.